Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now August 5th of 2022, and we're only getting closer to shows out there like Star Wars Andor, The Bad Batch Season 2, as well as Tales of the Jedi, which a lot of fans are honestly looking forward to that more so than Bad Batch, but anyways, moving forward from all of this, we know that 2023 is going to be a very packed year when it comes to live-action content. We have, of course, Mando Season 3, the Ahsoka Tano series. The one show that a lot of fans aren't really looking forward to all that much is Skeleton Crew. That's going to be a Kathleen Kennedy project 100%. She has full creative power over it. But who's the judge, right? We have yet to see... we have actually yet to have seen a shred of footage, so we really can't, place a finger on that show just yet. But it's pretty safe to say, based on Kathleen Kennedy's history, that it doesn't look so good so far. So, everything moving from that, alright? We know that Jon and Dave are working around the clock to make things better for the Star Wars fandom. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we obviously know that ever since Kathleen Kennedy made that big promise back in 2013 when she was talking with George Lucas on camera, you guys may very well remember that, where she said she was going to respect these characters, the stories that they were involved in, and everything related to Star Wars Legends. And she really backstabbed George Lucas with absolutely no shame. She really did not care about doing that and just wanted to do her own thing with the franchise. So here we are today. It is 2022 with Jon and Dave having a lot of creative power, thankfully, with a lot of projects separated from Kathleen Kennedy's moving ahead and really beginning to actually work itself out with Star Wars Legends coming back into the equation. So, the thing about Kathleen Kennedy right now is that she's heavily involved with the Acolyte series. We talked about this before in the past. So, with D23 and Disney Plus Day now around the corner, creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are getting ready to make some big announcements for the roadmap of the franchise that will include multiple new series. Now, it's noted that currently Kathleen Kennedy has been making some big changes to the Acolyte series behind the scenes, which has caused several setbacks over the past number of months. One of these changes had to do with breaking a promise she had made with George Lucas about the series that actually they came to an agreement with. Now, it's noted that one of the flashbacks that were being created by Kathleen Kennedy for the Acolyte series for the Sith Lords like Darth Bane, Darth Revan, and yes, even Darth Nihilus were initially agreed upon on how they would be used between Lucas and Kennedy, and that Lucas requested Kennedy to produce them in a certain specific way. All of which has been changed behind the scenes by Kathleen Kennedy. The original plan by Lucas was to showcase those Sith Lords as doing ruthless things in the flashbacks to show just how powerful and dangerous they really are as Sith Lords and iconics of the past. Now, these, of course, now have been reduced to just giving them small glimpses in the form of flashbacks, not doing much of anything, and even changing the designs of these characters to a degree that George Lucas did not agree on for the Acolyte series. Now, initially, Lucas requested Kennedy to actually design these characters also in a specific way, which she recently also completely changed for Revan, Bane, Nihilus, and others in the Acolyte show. So, let me just pause here before we get on to the more important stuff. To put things more clearly here is that Lucas and Kennedy had agreed to keep things accurate to Star Wars Legends when it came to the designs of Revan, Bane, Nihilus, and other Sith Lords out there that were going to appear in the form of flashbacks. And not only that, they were going to do different things in these flashbacks that all fell apart because Kathleen Kennedy wanted to actually reduce that, keep it simpler, and change the overall looks of these characters to fit her own narrative, if you will, for the Acolyte show. Now, this is something that Lucas is not happy about because, as you all know, in Legends, back in the day in the 1990s and the early 2000s, Lucas is the one who approved the designs of these characters, and Basically, he is very upset over the fact that Kathleen Kennedy did this behind his back. She betrayed him again, and it's not a big surprise at all because she also did this also again with the Acolytes some months ago about something to do with the Whills. So we obviously know that they had this big agreement for the Acolyte series, and a lot of those agreements fell apart as the months rolled by. So, once again, you know, this is not a big surprise. This is just how Kathleen Kennedy is in nature. She makes promises with George or some creators out there, and then those promises end up falling apart. You know, we've seen this time and time again, and it doesn't really seem to stop here. So, moving forward from all of that, alright, it's unclear how drastic the changes really are, but of course, Lucas is said to not be happy at all about Kennedy turning these things around behind his back, even without him getting told. This is something that Disney executives too are worried about, and how it may cause a backlash from Star Wars fans who really know these characters. Lucas is described to have tried, of course, to fight this decision by Kathleen Kennedy. However, she holds full creative power over the series and wants nothing to do with Lucas's input on the Acolyte anymore, and is actually going to design these characters the way that she wants them. Now, Leslie Headland, the main writer of the series, is following Kathy's demands on how the characters will be executed in the series, and it is completely different than how Lucas instructed Kathleen Kennedy to use the characters in the show. So another prime example here is that Leslie Headland agrees on everything pretty much with Kathy Kennedy. You may guys have already heard of what Leslie had to say a couple of months ago, that she was never really a Star Wars fan. She never really grew up with the franchise, specifically in that sense of how the fans grew up with it. She never really watched the prequels through and through. She herself said this before, and I'm just getting, you know, callbacks to what, you know, Joby Harold said with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, where he never really watched Revenge of the Sith through and through, and I think that goes to show you exactly why things felt out of place with the series quite drastically, you know. So, moving on from all of this, alright, so the silver lining, and there is one to all of this, is that Jon and Dave are already prepared to begin work on the Old Republic Star Wars TV series by next year that will roll out sometime in 2025 that will feature these characters again, and they plan on designing them properly and accurately to Star Wars legends. It's unclear what this will mean for continuity, but Jon and Dave are well aware of the problems behind the scenes and what Kathleen Kennedy is causing for the Acolyte TV show. So once again, this is another prime example of Kathleen Kennedy pulling the strings, agreeing with Lucas, and breaking those promises, and having no remorse in that process. And I think it just goes to show you that basically she's going to adjust and evolve to whatever needs that she needs to get fulfilled for a project like The Acolyte. And so far, you know, I'm not really liking what I'm hearing about The Acolyte show. It's still slated for a late 2023 release, and I mean a very late 23 release. We're looking at like the last week of December, maybe the second to last week of that month, give or take, and that's if they get this thing filmed by this November, if they begin filming by that month. So overall, you know, I would like to hear what you guys have to say about this entire situation between Kathleen Kennedy and George Lucas, and these fan favorite Sith Lords getting changed, and I'm not quite sure how fans are going to react to that, but it's not looking good. So overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.